Welcome back, YouTube. So in this video, I'm going to go over some of the information that we know about the coming executive orders via crypto, and also some of the steps I believe are going to happen and the reasons why they're going to happen going forward. If you follow my channel, you'll know that I covered this topic around 10 months ago, almost a year ago, when we had that explosion of retail investors into the cryptocurrency space. I knew immediately that we were going to have the all eyes on us and have a lot of government attention brought to us for the simple fact that we have a method of exchange now that exists outside of the government's control, or there's virtually no regulation in this area. And we've seen that last year also that Gary Gensler referred to at the cryptocurrency space as the Wild West just because of the lack of rules. It can easily be anticipated that there was going to be some regulations going forward. Some of my previous videos, I mentioned that throughout the history, especially America's history, there's never been a time where we had a method of exchange that was outside of government's control, that was outside of the government's regulation. And now we have something that is literally like a threat to the dollar's dominance. So I expected there to be some type of interference or regulation coming into this space. And I'm not saying that all of it is wrong or that that we don't need regulation, obviously, because there's rug pulls happening like every day. So we do need some form of regulation, even if it's just to protect investors. But I really need them to be transparent up front about some of these regulations and these orders that are being put in place. Now, because I'm all for having some regulations when you have coins that do like things that you would normally get sued for. Like if I created a baby Walmart company or something like that, I get sued to oblivion and I never make it to market. But in cryptocurrency, that's not the case. So you can literally do something like that, gain the notoriety, and literally have a pull against the actual Walmart. Let's just say, for example, the Walmart had the stock there, and I was able to actually pull liquidity from this company just based off of the association that I created. And ultimately that creates instability, and that creates these wild swings because people obviously will start chasing profits. And a lot of times people often get screwed because the devs hold like 80-90% of the coins, and then of course they rug pull it, and then people are just ended up with their money taken. So depending on the regulation, I'm for some of it, but they really just need to know. We really just need to know what is that regulation going forward. So I'm going to read to you here some of what we can expect, and I'm also going to point out some of the interesting verbiage here that we can see. I know this is on Yahoo Finance, but I believe it's via Bloomberg. And it says the President Biden is expected to issue an executive order next week directing agencies across the government to study cryptocurrencies and a central bank digital currency and come up with a government-wide strategy to regulate digital assets. Let's see, I'm gonna skip down here. It says the Financial Stability Oversight Council, created after the 2008 financial crisis to monitor risk in the system, will be asked to study financial stability issues that arise from digital assets. The President's Working Group on Financial Markets has already tasked the FSOC with looking into systemic risk in stablecoins. This week, Treasury Undersecretary Nellie Liang told the Senate that the council is discussing the prospect of risk stablecoins pose and taking steps to see what authority regulators have. Treasury is hopeful Congress will act since its authorities are limited. Meanwhile, the Attorney General, along with the FTC and Consumer Financial Protections Bureau, will be asked to consider what impact the growth in digital assets could have on the market competition. The SEC, the CFTC, and the Federal Reserve, FDIC, and OCC are expected to weigh market protection measures with their jurisdictions. Let's see here. Let's see. The Office of Science and Technology Policy will submit a report to the president on the digital distributed ledger technology within 180 days, an update on DLT and its impact on the environment in 545 days. Let's see. The executive order offers the White House, Treasury, and other members of the government the opportunity to weigh in on a digital dollar, a framework for which the Fed unveiled in January. Last week, Liang told Yahoo Finance Treasury absolutely supports an urgency study of the CBDC, but stopped short of outright endorsing one. This is what this is all about. This is what this entire when last year when they came out and said that they were going to do an investigation, and they said that they will probably have a report done by 2025. I said there's no way that they're waiting until 2025. They wait until 2025, they're going to be out of the game. This is really what this whole thing, regulation, these taxes, this is what this is all about. This is about the dollar having to be put in a place of competition so that it's not ruled out by Bitcoin and some of these other currencies that can be used to purchase goods with. The dollar always has a presence no matter what. Typically, historically, you'll see coins that like gold and silver that have been used for money. You can still trade gold and silver for assets. You have gold spot price, silver spot price, and of course, you have your premiums depending on what type of bullion and stuff like that, what type of coins that you'll have. You have your spread, but you can still buy like generic rounds. But the government has a presence in the gold and silver area. So you have coins minted by the U.S. Mint, your gold eagles and your silver eagles. So no matter what type of asset that you wish to trade, if it's a dominating factor historically, the country wants a presence there so that it's not ruled out, so that you're not going to have a complete way to go like around the dollar. So that's, the dollar is the reserve currency of the world. If you travel, lots of currencies trade in and out of the dollar before they trade back into their own currency. So you'll see that this is a real threat to the way the systems work, because the last thing that you want is for all of these currencies to be out there trading crypto instead of the dollar. And those dollars have to return back to, our money supply. The only reason, what keeps you out of, just like we scream utility for a lot of these coins, that's the work. It works the same way with the dollar. The dollar must remain fluid and attached to assets. Once that dollar slows down and it's no longer attached to assets, that's when you go into like recessions, and you have the threat of hyperinflation. Why do you think it's a big deal if we all stop buying houses? Like, why must we be in debt in order for the currency to work? Those dollars have to be attached to something. So it's a really big deal if people stop using the dollar so much, and this resulted in a workaround for the dollar and cryptocurrency. So you best believe that they're working hastily to create this digital dollar. It's coming. You can best believe the digital dollar is on its way. And I want to point out one more thing here above this. The paragraph actually above this, it says the government will also look at, and this really solidifies my point. The government will also look at coordinating with other countries around the world to standardize rules for crypto. The State Department, Treasury, Commerce Department, and USAID will work to create a framework for interagency international engagement with foreign counterparts in an international forum to enhance the adoption of digital assets and standardized rules. So pretty much what we're looking at here is we're going to have the option to, I believe that they're not necessarily going to do away with other currencies, but it's certainly going to be, not other currencies, other coins, but it's certainly going to be they pretty much want to make the digital dollar the standard as far as being traded. You probably have stricter regulations across the board, and you'll probably see something like an encouragement that each nation creates their own version of cryptocurrency, and that'll be the recommended, quote unquote, form of cryptocurrency that's used for payment methods and stuff like that. So it's kind of like you can't refuse, like if you make a payment, you can't necessarily refuse it if it's in US dollars here. So it'll be something like, okay, well, this is the standard cryptocurrency for the country. So if you want to pay your taxes in like a digital dollar, you can do so, even though you may not be able to pay for that in Bitcoin. And if you're transferring from like a Bitcoin or another coin into the digital dollar, you can probably expect some hefty transfer fees. We'll kind of have to see how that goes, but I have a pretty good idea of the direction that they're looking to take with this, and one of the reasons why they're trying to standardize it across the globe here. I think it's much deeper than security of the people and stuff like that. I think this is that may be a part of it, and don't get me wrong, that is a plus, but I believe this is a two-edged sword. As I said 10 months ago, this is something that we're going to have to follow very closely and keep an open mind as far as to this, and make sure that we are on top of these executive orders and all these bills and stuff that we can expect to come in the near future. Let me know what you think this means in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you, because I know this is something that's going to be a topic of discussion for a while now, especially as this vague field kind of gets defined over the course of the next couple of years. If you found value in this video, like the video, share the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget about BlockFi. I have a link in the description. If you open an account with them, you can get up to $250 in some of your favorite crypto, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Until next time.